Hey everyone, Rockstar's been sending out a bunch of player surveys to, I would assume, randomly selected players, or maybe not so randomly selected because I wasn't selected and I'm a player of the game too, and I feel I have like a sense of self-importance. Not really. Either way, the survey asks a bunch of general gaming questions at the start and then kind of goes into more specific things regarding GTA Online. This ranges from the weekly events that we get, the content updates, more recent new features, and of course, everyone's favorite, GTA Plus. Either way, I thought it'd be interesting to have a look into the survey and see what kind of questions are being asked and potentially even answer them myself where I see applicable. Let's start off with some general gaming questions. To give you my answers, I think I'm leaning more towards open world games, but it depends on like if it's just, you know, a bunch of busy work or if it's actually like a genuinely well-made open world. Linear path games I'm, a fan of too. Like it just depends on what the game is, if it suits the game or not. When it comes to choices in games, again, it depends on what game it is, but I think like I'm fine with having a limited number of choices. I'm really more like gameplay first before anything. It kind of goes the same way with like smaller areas and being more densely populated with gameplay. You have a lot of these really big open world games that don't really offer anything except for like, look guys, we made a big world, look, it's really good, and then it's just, completely dead. When it comes to like stats and leveling up, I like a sense of progression, right? I think that's very important to a game. Like that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm kind of, mad about GTA Online nowadays, because I've done everything. And it kind of goes with like a lot of other games too, right? If I start to feel the point, whether it's with Destiny or GTA or really any game for that matter, then I really start to feel like, okay, what's the point of even playing this anymore, because I'm not really working towards something anymore. Maybe that's just the way that I'm wired, but that's me, I suppose. When it comes to collectibles and achievements, I used to really be hardcore on collecting trophies. I have like over 200 platinum trophies and stuff like that on PlayStation, but I kind of like, because I started streaming, didn't really care much about it anymore, so I kind of gave up that life, if you will. Collectibles, I have a growing despise for, because of said collecting of the trophies for those years. I hate them. But there's definitely plenty of games out there that do collectibles very well, because there's a genuine good reward for them. So again, it depends. If there's a good reward at the end of the road for said collectibles, then yeah, sure. But if it's just slob to get an outfit, I'm good. When it comes to doing everything in game, if it's like Elden Ring, then yeah, I want to go through every dungeon and every boss and everything. But again, it's game dependent for me. Gaming is a key part of my identity. I mean, yeah, no, I guess that's kind of obvious, isn't it? Engaging in discussions, obviously, I mean, look what I'm doing now. Prefer single player or multiplayer games? I'm kind of switched between the two. Sometimes I'm really heavily into single player games. It's also like more like, really into multiplayer games. I really just like both, but I think there's definitely a charm to like a really solid single player experience where you just sit down and immerse yourself over hearing Timmy getting shouted at by his mom while playing Call of Duty. Though there's definitely some very cool, interesting, like multiplayer experiences out there that provide an interesting and different challenge. Resurgence in Warzone, Call of Duty being my most recent drug, if you will. Chatting with other people, fine with, also fine with not saying anything. Mostly play the games for, I guess for me it's kind of like, I play the games because I enjoy them, but also like streaming them, so I guess that's kind of both for me. Multiplayer experience that are structured or just kind of like freedom. I kind of like having a mix of both, right? I kind of want to have like a choice of what I do and kind of like having the option to think outside of the box with GTA Online, but I also really just like the structured multiplayer matches where you just kind of just go in and shoot a bunch of dudes. It's kind of whatever, really. When playing games, sticking to myself with a few friends, I mean, again, it's the whole streaming thing, so not really a question I can answer because I'm already actively involved with that stuff. And now it's time for GTA Online questions. First, they ask what platform you play on. I mean, I own all of them and play all of them except for Xbox, I guess, at this point, because, no one in my community joins to play the streams that we do, so I just stick to PC and PlayStation. Might change into the future as the channel grows. Over the past 3 months, how has your experience with GTA Online been? Great. It's been a lot of fun, just a lot of content, a lot of things to do. I wish we could do this for another year. How likely are you to continue playing GTA Online over the next 6 months? Oh, I definitely will. I'll be here until the fucking wheels fall off. Over the past 3 months, which of these activities in GTA Online have you taken part of? They ask for free mode events, heists, businesses, leisurely activities and mini-games, free roaming, adversary modes, contact missions, community series and player-made modes, and races. Out of these ones, personally I've engaged with, well, all of them really. Lately been more focused on doing like the high stuff for the career challenges. Every Saturday on the Twitch channel we do playlists that are made by the community, or my community rather, and then obviously the player-made jobs in there. There's some really cool stuff in there that probably never ever will make its way to the community series because, you know, they're well thought out and finished, whereas in the last batch of the community series, for some reason, there was a job in there where there were like gaps in like the propping and stuff like that. It's just like, are these jobs being played? And like, they're just really uninteresting. And there's a race in there with a giant circle where you drive in a truck and sometimes you drive over a boost pad. And it's like, these jobs are not really what the best of the community is, really. There's so much better stuff out there, and I really wish Rockstar would go more out of their way to find it. Even though they can literally go to a website called GTA Lens, where they were literally being served jobs made by the community that are already verified. Either way, no point ranting about it, nothing will change. And over the past 3 months, how was your experience with these type of activities? I mean, they're fine, you know, it's like, it's more GTA Online at this point. Community series though, I mean, like I said, I've ranted about it already. Not really a whole lot to say here, but I'll show you anyways. You can answer it for yourself if you want to. In an average week, roughly how much of your time in GTA Online is spent doing each of these type of activities? Give a percentage of each. Feel free to use 0 if you don't spend any time on these activities in an average week. I'd give you my percentages, but at this point, you know, like I said, I'm kind of focused on highs at the moment because of the career challenges. How often are you participating in weekly event? By weekly events, they mean the Thursday updates where they give you double cash on running back, you know, that one. In my case, obviously every single week. How was your experience with recent weekly events? I really hope that people are gonna, like, you know, answer the following questions about the weekly events in a meaningful way, and that they actually give them some proper feedback, because they never make sense, right? The amount of times I make a video on weekly events and go like, look, Rockstar, what are we doing, right? And then shortly after, and I know this is gonna sound like I'm really arrogant or something, but then shortly after, they see like a spike up in like being way more interesting and stuff like that. And there never seems to be any sort of consistency to them. So it's like, where is said consistency? I'm not asking for businesses and highs to be double cash all the time, but I mean, at least make them like interesting, that there's something for everyone. I've said it a billion times. I'll spare you yet another rant about it. But yeah, I hope that, you know, what they're doing. Some of the next ones, I think they also ask some questions about it, which we'll touch on in a bit. How much do you agree or disagree with each of the following statements about GTA Online? It is doing innovative and unique things compared to other games. Now, you could argue that it is, because it's the only game out there right now that is doing said thing. There is not a single game that is even challenging GTA Online. So there is only a strongly agree here, because there is no other option. Now, having said that, they dropped the ball with live service badly. I feel safe and comfortable playing with others online. No, they might tell me my mother is an evil woman, and this hurts my feelings. Ooh. It is satisfying and rewarding to play. I feel that this is very subjective. For me personally, or any long-time players, I would argue that this is a disagree, whether it's somewhat or strongly. You know, it depends on yourself, but personally, you know, rewarding the play, not anymore. Satisfying, it definitely still has the satisfying moments. This predominantly comes from like races and the community jobs that play on Saturdays on stream, but yeah, in general, you know, it's lost its you know, snap. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you get my point. There are great options for vehicles to purchase and drive. While I would argue that there is kind of like a downturn in terms of interesting vehicles that have been added to the game lately, Rockstar has done a good job at stabilizing and normalizing the vehicles, and there are still plenty of choices of really interesting and fun vehicles in the game. And I do hope that they'll have some of the more wacky stuff in GTA 6 Online, because the kind of vehicles that do make you go like, what the hell is this, has two side effects. It can turn you off, but it could also go like, hey, this is kind of fun and different, and helps you have a different kind of thing to play around with instead of just another supercar or just another sports car like we're kind of have been getting over the past couple of updates. Minus the Regu and some of the more unique vehicles for Halloween, for example. There are good measures in place to keep a player cheating and hacking under control. No, we're done. I'm standing here in front of GTA Online's anti-cheat system. As you can clearly tell, it's hard at work to protect you from every single nasty cheater and modder in those PC lobbies. How well do you think it's going? Well, you tell me. It's easy to learn about when new content has recently released. I find it hard to answer for me personally, considering the fact that I'm on the side of being the one that tells everyone that it's being released. So, kind of curious about this one. If guys, people could like comment that down below how easy it is. I mean, maybe outside of YouTube, but then again with the rise of social media, and if you're already watching this video, you're probably already pretty involved with it. Hard question to answer for, I guess, everyone watching this and myself included, because I'm pretty certain that if you're watching YouTube videos about GTA Online, you're probably also figuring out about new DLCs on said YouTube. The NPCs are compelling and interesting. I find this hard to answer because GTA Online's enemies and or NPCs are, I don't know, they're kind of all over the place, aren't they, right? They kind of go from like one DLC being really difficult to deal with and just annoying and rapid firing all over the place to the next DLC they're just a walk in the park to be completely brain dead. There's no consistency to it. I don't think at this point that they're very interesting and compelling because there's just one type of NPC and they just can all get killed by one headshot. I mentioned this before, different types of enemies. There's an interesting one with the most wanted one for Brock Johnson, if I'm saying it right. But yeah, I think more different types of enemy types, right? That you actively have to engage in a different way with them in order to actually, you know, take them down. It will probably help, if I hope that it will do that in GTA 6, like have some different body types or whatever in terms of enemies that take more damage or take less damage or are a bit faster, etc. Like that might make it more interesting, but maybe I'm going too much into the RPG direction. I don't know. I enjoy playing alongside the in-game player community. Again, for me, difficult to answer, but I'd be very curious to see how most people feel about this one, as GTA Online has steered more towards the I want to play by myself kind of crowd, which I guess is mostly an answer to how the game has turned out and with all the tools that people use to just be a dickhead. But generally speaking, personally, I really enjoy playing with others, but sometimes I'm kind of fine with just, you know, sticking by myself in invite only and just kind of doing some stuff by myself, especially if I'm going for certain goals or making videos or anything. So hard to answer, for me at least. Los Santos is filled with different interesting things to do. I mean, if there's one thing that GTA Online has going for it, is that it is definitely very varied. GTA Online has something for everyone, and that is a point that would be impossible to argue against, in my opinion. Rockstar listens to GTA Online player feedback. Are we like sure about this one? Because like they seem to, over the last couple of updates since Criminal Enterprises, but it really only seems to be because quality of life seems to be DLC content, but it's like a lot of too little too late. So I guess we'll come back to this question when GTA 6 rolls around, and if they actually do continue to do it, which I hope they will. I receive in-game phone calls, emails, notifications at a reasonable frequency. If you are a new player that just logged onto the game, you're in for a treat. And with that, I mean, no, that is a lot of spam. It's like, hey, it's wrong here. Like, no, I'm good. My real life friends are also playing it. Babe, do you play GTA Online?
I don't want your mic. Go away from me.
Never mind this bit. We'll cut this out. It's easy to find specific activities in the in-game world. I mean, I think they do a good job at like having different colors and stuff like that to kind of determine what is what. There's obviously the map blip options to disable all of this stuff, but the chances of like you finding that by yourself aren't very high, I think, unless there's some help text that I don't know about. The in-game menus are easy to navigate. I mean, I guess if you're used to it, but I think the interaction menu probably still has a long way to go. I think Red Dead definitely did a better job with the weapon wheel and kind of like minimizing how much menuing you had to do, especially because the weapon wheel was doing a lot better job than GTA Online is with a lot of stuff. So hopefully we'll see some more improvements in the future with that indeed. It's easy to connect with other players in GTA Online. Matchmaking is a mess, we'll just leave it at that. Major content updates continuously bring meaningful evolutions to the game. Every 6 months, meaningful. I get excited for in-game seasonal holidays, events, Independence Day, Halloween and Christmas. Halloween, they have been doing a great job over the last few years. I have seen some stuff of Halloween this year, and there is some cool stuff coming up, I can tell you that. Having said that, I wouldn't expect the moon and back, but it's one of those, hey, this is cool type of things. Weekly events make me excited to play. That's a question I would kind of like to extend to you guys again, you know, down in the old comment section below. How much does an event week encourage you or deter you from playing the game for the week? I see a bunch of comments all the time in the event week video saying, hey, this is another week of me playing X game instead of GTA Online, or I'm not playing the game this week, or I'm uninstalling again, etc., right? Now, obviously, you know, vocal minority maybe here, but I'd be curious to see what the answers to that one are, as I'm pretty certain that for at least a portion of the community, it depends on whether or not they will actually bother to load up the game. Having said that, those same people might also be under the category of like, if it's a business double cash, I'm interested. If it's not, then I'm not interested. So, you know, it depends on the player. There are great options for styling and dressing my characters how I want to. Yes and no. While the quantity of clothing items in GTA Online is enormous, the combinations that you have to use glitches for, which then get patched because, you know, the goofy guy from Ohio gets upset about that a lot, is quite high. Now, as far as I'm aware, the reason why they don't allow that is because it kind of messes with the netcode, but I would like to see some much more needed combinations with the stuff that are restricted, because there are some really cool combinations you can do that you have to use glitches for that are normally not possible to be done. There's always enough players to cooperate, heist and contact missions. From my experience, if you search for them, yes. If you're hosting them, a bit of a nightmare. Though with my recent journey into getting the Doomsday career challenges done, I would say that it's been relatively easy to find people to do Doomsday heists with, especially because I only need one player, which makes everything a lot easier. Normal heist though, and having to find 3 players to then do a mission that you're going to be spending next 45 minutes doing nothing but failing with and then someone leaving, is a whole different ballgame. The matchmaking still has a long way to go though, I would argue. Though quick join heists are a pretty solid way of finding a heist relatively quickly. It keeps getting better with each update. That is a very tough thing to argue, as again, GTA Online's updates are kind of all over the place in terms of quality and in terms of like how much it appeals to you. So I would argue it's subjective, but I say we went like shop, and then we went to bill office, right? And the last few years, yeah, I think there was a period of time though where the trend went upwards a lot, but then it kind of like, you know, went like this, and then it kind of went that, I don't know, it's kind of all over the place in my opinion. The storylines are compelling and interesting. Again, kind of all over the place. You know, if you look at, for example, Nightclub, as a, you know, long-term GTA fan, it was really cool to see Tony and Laszlo like interacting like that. Then if you look at Chop Shop, you had Yusuf Amir. Generally speaking though, you know, the cutscenes and like the banter and that sort of stuff are generally fine. I guess aside from Tuner, you know, could argue that there's all the really cool stuff, and each DLC does provide a bit of a story and a bit of like, why are you doing this? So generally I'd say, yeah, it's good. My gaming system or console provides me with the best possible GTA Online experience. If you're on PC, if you're on console, I would say that you're probably best off playing on PlayStation 5 at this point, maybe Series X. But the other ones, I would argue it's definitely not. Like PS4, Xbox One, I'm sure you're running on 15 FPS. Not a good time, but they're probably keeping that console around because here comes the money. It's consistently fresh and exciting to play. For me, hard disagree because, you know, It's been nearly 11 years at this point, and I'm just wanting to, you know, this please, yeah? Thank you, Rockstar. Appreciate it. There's good support in resolving in-game player issues and reporting bugs. Don't know, never used it. If there is a bug or if there's anything going on, I typically make a video on it or post on social media about it, rather than using the in-game feature, though I have heard that the in-game reporting now actually works. There's always enough players for competitive races and other modes, adversary modes, deathmatch, etc. On PC, I would say that's probably a hard no. PlayStation, when there is a double cash event, yes. When there isn't, I don't know, if I'm completely honest. I don't play them enough. Having said that, I would argue that because of the matchmaking and the way it's structured and the amount of maps and the way that it's set up with the setting up lobbies and then having one player lobbies, I would probably still give it a hard disagree. It's a mess. It's been a mess forever and it's never going to be fixed, and I hope that in the GTA 6 they'll do a better job at it and hopefully go with a system like they have in Red Dead Online, which kind of prevents that a lot even though the game isn't that active anymore. In-game rewards are easy to find and claim. I guess one thing that's kind of like something that they should probably work on a bit is figuring out a way how they can let people know about the weekly events in-game, right? Like whether it's a list of things or potentially like, hey, you can get a clothing unlock if you do X, Y, and Z this week, right? Like maybe even something like a message board or I don't know, something along those lines. Maybe a message board is a bit weird, but I think that most players that are just casually and not really chronically online like most of us are, they probably will never know about doing a weekly challenge and unlocking a t-shirt for it, because all they'll see is like, hey, do this weekly challenge. Like a prize ride, for example, that's obvious enough for a podium vehicle, sure, but outside of that, you know, it's probably pretty difficult for players to figure it out by themselves unless they are on social media. Then they have some reasons. What's the best way to describe why you play GTA Online? You can select 3, but you know, the experience, the storylines, or players, help or bond with other players, escape reality, relax or unwind, to do something familiar or comforting, to cause mayhem and destruction, show off and or achieve status, to mess with other players, to feel thrilled or excited, level up and make progress, to socialize, immerse, aggression, or to get out aggression and blow off steam. I mean, some of the people I meet in random heists, you would start to think that, yeah. To feel myself getting more skilled, to relieve boredom, customize, decorate my character apartment, etc. To think and strategize, to collect everything in-game. Well, there's plenty of collectibles, so you'll be busy with that for a while. In the next one, they ask you the percentage of time you spend in public and private sessions. I'd be extremely interested to see the community average for this one, because I'm pretty darn certain that the private lobbies are winning at this point, especially for PC players. The next one kind of falls in the same category with, like, you know, playing with strangers, friends, or solo. I would argue that at this point that solo bar is probably pretty high, but then again, it's a case of probably like vocal minority, so we don't really know, because, like, you know, public lobbies are always packed. I always see like at least 20 players in each lobby that I visit. At least from a freedom experience, I guess those matchmaking is actually working. So that's nice. Where do you go to learn about new GTA Online content updates? Reddit, the emails that they send, the YouTube videos, talking to friends, family, Newswire, other social media, Rockstar social media, official gaming press on Twitter from other players' activities or other places. Well, you know, I hope you get them from my YouTube channel. Subscribe and like. Which are the primary places you learn about new GTA Online updates? I mean, I guess that's kind of the same thing. I guess they really want you to follow them on those Rockstar platforms, I suppose. Next up, they ask you about the features and activities that they recently added to the game, where they go like, have you seen this man? Starting off with the bail office and the bounty things, then dispatch work. I mean, you know, in my case, I have no idea what this is. What's GTA Online? And then ask like, how was it? Which, you know, I guess you can answer for yourself. I've done a review on the DLC, so, you know, go watch that, I suppose. How do you feel about the parts of the bail enforcement office? Oh, they even go as far as to break down the characters, the plot, the standard missions, the most wanted ones, the number of missions available to play per day. This throat stuff is really playing up today. The GTA Online payout. That's going to be a fun answer for most of them. The difficulty level. I think GTA Online is more of a challenge, but that's just, you know, me as a long-term player. When I'm recording shit, just don't question it. The missus is concerned because of the shit I do with this video. The office locations. I still don't know why they keep doing everything in Paleto Bay. I understand, like, haha, make them pay 100,000 less to have to drive 6 miles, but you kind of start to wonder, you know, what are we doing? Because I feel like if you're gonna do stuff in Paleto Bay, then at least have to like more in the area, right? Like to at least give it like a different experience, right? I can understand people want to have everything in Paleto Bay and then decide to not make a video about it for the next 7 months. But you know, it'd be nice if it's like kind of in the same area, so constantly having to drive to the city and back. The cost to set up the office and interior design and all that sort of stuff, playing with others, and the time taken to complete. If there's one piece of feedback I'd have is that career challenges kind of need to be looking into, because hosts only getting the progress for stuff is kind of annoying. With the 21 targets, I was missing the last one, even though I literally had done 5 million worth of targets and I was still missing the Pierce Biker girl. Really annoying stuff, definitely something to look into, because it would encourage players to play together rather than sticking by themselves in an activity that already seems to be very geared towards playing by yourself only. Time taken to complete though for the bounties I'd say is good. Typically they take 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're really taking your time and driving a pizza boy or something. Most wanted missions are kind of like longer, but they should be, as they are more interesting. Then they ask about like how you feel about the law enforcement vehicles, like the new ones. The purchasing of it, I've said my piece about already. The fact you have to own previous ones and then own the new ones is a bit ludicrous. I understand you have to like unlock the buy it now price and the trade price for them. That's cool, but needing to purchase a car to then buy another car, stupid. Next up, they ask you how many vehicles you own and how much percentage of those vehicles you actually consider like your main vehicles. Then go on to ask a couple of statements again, which are like, I want to own as many vehicles as possible. I only want to have the special ones or the unique ones. Don't customize them too much. I customize all of them. I frequently switch what vehicles I'm using, but I tend to stick to a few the same. Worry about not having enough storage in my vehicles. I don't worry about having that. I'd be particularly interested in people saying, hey, I don't have enough storage space, because what? Because sort of what, like 200-300 vehicles at this point? You know, I think this is like a higher level, longer term player type of issue rather than like, you know, I guess the average player base, I'd say. I hold on to vehicles even though I no longer value them. I get rid of vehicles that I just no longer value. I'd say that most players probably just keep hogging up vehicles until they realize the garage is full or they need money. So yeah, I guess I'm more of the hogging them up because I have enough space anyways type of guy. Which reason below describes what motivates you to buy vehicles in the game. To express myself, to roleplay, that'd be an interesting one to see how many people will answer that one. To have and collect everything in game, to show off, or to improve my skills and abilities. Interesting that they don't also highlight like performance. Because I would assume that there's a bunch of people within the community that would also tend to go for performance. I'm personally one of those. Then they ask you to rank 5 of these for most important considering when you buy a new vehicle. Resemblance of what I own in real life, the size, the ability to customize and modify, the capabilities, the durability of the vehicle. Let's be honest, DLC vehicles nowadays don't have any deformation, so. The overall style, weaponry, speed, oh there we go, that's the performance one. How the vehicle feels while driving, that's an interesting one. That's definitely pretty high on the list, I suppose, for at least some of us. And how rare or novel the vehicle is. Ah yes, FOMO, you love it. How much do you agree or disagree with each of the following statements about the process of buying a new vehicle in the game? Concerns over the number of limited storage spaces available prevent me from buying new vehicles. Again, I'd be curious to see if anyone even has this issue anymore these days, but I don't know. Vehicle advertisements provide enough information for me to decide whether or not I want to buy the vehicle. These vehicles are generally like advertised as a parody type of thing and are meant to kind of like either entertain you or make you laugh. Because I typically go like, oh, this supercar is the fastest thing ever made, get it. The vehicle purchasing process is easy and straightforward. It is, but you know, there's 200 vehicles missing. I think that with removing the vehicles, it probably made it more convoluted because you have to go to showrooms to buy vehicles now, which is a cool experience, but people might wonder, hey, why can't I not find them on the website? Then they ask how you learn about the vehicles that you're interested in potentially buying, and then obviously, you know, the whole social media accounts, YouTube, and the whole shebang. Even going as far as to just buying the vehicle and then testing it out or just borrowing it from a friend. And in what's the primary way of where you find out about, you know, finding these vehicles, they even go as far as watching YouTube videos and guides on them, which I guess would be, you know, the Bruffy man, I suppose. Look at in-game vehicle websites. Again, there's 200 vehicles missing, so how could they? But now, it's time for everyone's favorite part of this video. A GTA Plus. They ask you that you are not a GTA Plus member, so, you know, I guess I would assume that if you're a GTA Plus member, the survey would have, like, asked you different questions, but have you ever been one? Are you currently one? You know, that sort of stuff. Then they ask you, like, how familiar you are with it, even saying as far as to that you don't have to worry. Even if you answer honestly, they will not take away the $500,000 you will get for answering the survey. Then ask you, how do you feel about GTA Online? So this person asks, like, why do you dislike GTA Online? Alright, so they disliked it. How likely would you be to subscribe to GTA Plus in the next 3 months if it were to be available on your primary platform? That would be as a question as well. How do you hear about the GTA Plus things? Again, the same as per usual, like literally everywhere. Then they go on to ask you about the permanent stuff that have in GTA Plus subscriptions, and if you even know about them, you can check mark them. In my case, I mean, I know all of them, because, you know, cool like that. How do you feel about the permanent perks of GTA Plus is what they ask. The $500,000, you know, I just like, it's fine. The 15% bonus to shark cards, it's fine. I mean, I don't really see the point in spending $8 at this point, and then get 15% off shark card purchases. You're paying for a subscription, and then you get 15% off shark cards. It kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? You're paying to pay more. Monthly free vehicle is nice, but it's mostly nice if it's a DLC vehicle or something that actually has worth. I don't think anyone is really jumping out of the chair for a juggler, for example. The Fine with Car Club, it's definitely nice to have. The 20% discount, and, you know, you can... That space itself is also just really genuinely cool. The Fiber Club Garage, very nice to have. The phone app, also nice to have. The exclusive vehicle cosmetics and the gameplay bonuses and multipliers, you know, the in-game discounts and the games included. All of them, like, you know, nice to have, honestly. And then they ask you, which one of these are your favorite? Please pick 5. And they even mention a taxi service that literally everyone has forgot about. Then they ask you for another ranking system, which things are your favorite, and, you know, give your top 4. Then they ask you to agree or disagree with the following statements about GTA Plus. The benefits offered seem to be worth more than the price. That's very, very subjective. The benefits seem like they would enhance how I already prefer to play GTA Online. Again, very subjective. I would argue that GTA Plus is definitely more beneficial to casuals, though. It gives members exclusive content that I'd want to have. FOMO. It gives members a fair and balanced advantage. I would argue that GTA Online is pretty balanced, though, in most aspects. Like, most of the stuff that gets doubled is like kind of whatever. It's a nice to have, but it's not really anything that's gonna like make you jump out of the chair. Typically it gets mixed up with some event week stuff too, so you get 4 times instead of 2 times, which is nice, but other than that, it's kind of fine, really. The benefits seemed like they would give me more to do in GTA Online. Sometimes. When they did a month worth of double cash in like pack standard, I did nothing but did that and got 50 million for my career challenges, but again, subjective to the player. It depends on the month. Like, I think a lot of these things are going to be very month dependent. They seem like it will make it easier to discover or progress through GTA Online content. Again, depends on the month. It is easy to learn about GTA Plus and its benefits it offers. Again, subjective, because I'm the one that actually tells everyone about it, so hard to argue for me. What has prevented you from signing up to a GTA Plus membership? The benefits aren't relevant to me. The benefits don't enhance my experience. It's only available on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. The exclusive content and vehicles don't excite me. I don't like in-game subscription on principle. That's a good one that people can answer. I already paid for GTA upfront and don't want to pay more. Can't afford it right now. GTA Plus makes the game more pay to win. Man, I don't actually hold back with these ones. That's nice, actually. And I don't play enough GTA Online. Others write in, hey, GTA Online Plus, bad. Then they also go as far to ask you about specific months for GTA Plus. I think I'll spare you that one, as, you know, it again comes down to, like, if you look at July, you get the free Pipistrello. In June, you got the Greenwood, and like double in security contracts, you know. The vehicles differ, the months differ, you know, like if you look at March 2024, you get a 811 and 50% off like apartment properties. I think we all know which ones are going to be considered like the more interesting ones, right? Though there is a certain fear here, though, that if people are going to be answering like, I like the ones with the businesses and which gives me the most money. Rockstar might start steering towards like doing those more often, making it a bit more pay to win, so I guess we'll see. Then they go into some more specific questions about April 2024, for example, like how do you feel about it? What were specific benefits did you actually use during that month? Then they go on to asking about the Vinewood Club Garage, which is like, oh, like I like this or I don't like this, I've used it, I've not used it. How do you feel about the vehicle workshop added to the game? I feel that this should have been a thing from the start. It's a 100-car garage. I don't want to drive to Los Santos Customs while paying real life money for this particular garage, but it's nice that they added it 6 months later. How would you feel if you could no longer use GTA Plus? Oh no, not my GTA Plus. Oh no. And that completes the survey, because then it jumps from 54% to 100%, which means that the other 36% probably was for people who were actually GTA Plus members. And that is the end of the survey. I'd be very interested to see how you guys feel about the survey, how you would answer it yourself, and if you feel that Rockstar did a good job. I personally think that the survey answers like a wide enough array of like answers and will probably help them in a meaningful way. It would have been interesting to like, I guess, give my sense. I wonder what's going on with like Rockstar inviting people to like on a one-on-one call. Maybe that's something they'll do based on these surveys. I don't know. But then again, having a one-on-one chat with the dev is something they would love to do, to sit down and see like, okay, why are the decisions being made, and are they based on these player surveys or just like the general community on Reddit and social media as a whole. Then again, Twitter is just basically going like, where's GTA 6? So, Either way, that's it for this one. Leave a like, subscribe, and become a member like Chloe, GTA Plus, and Notorious Jam. And I'll see you all later.